Okay, guys. Hopefully, you can hear us. So, anyone's online, please let us know if you can hear us clearly or not. So we, as usual, always get some technical problems, but we think we've got the microphones working. So if someone can just clarify that for us before we get into it. Hopefully, hang on.
We can hear ourselves
I
on,
can hear
on your
myself, so
on your
that's
phone.
good.
So
Uh, that doesn't work.
sounding quite
There we
vibrant in
go.
there. So
Sounded clear on that. Right. All right. So thanks guys for anyone who's joining us. So we're just gonna today we wanted to talk about Revo slot a little bit with the cars, the setup, and events and things that are going on. We've been sort of running Revos here since we opened, what, 5 years ago now?
yeah,
It's become a pretty popular class. It's obviously one of the favorites here. We get a lot of new people coming, and yeah, one of the cars that we sort of always fall in love with first is the Revos because they're pretty good straight out of the box and on the track. Obviously, there's improvements we can do, and we'll try and run through some of those today. So throughout Australia, I think Revo now is becoming quite popular. I'm hearing quite a few clubs running them. We've done inter-club challenges in the past with the Revos. Um, your thoughts on Revos?
yeah, they're a great car. Really good, nice aluminium chassis, two piece, very solid, robust. And you can really put them together well and to extract the most out of them. Great range of bodies and liveries and things like that as well. So it's always something that's going to catch your eye and enjoy racing. So
Yeah, and you've got the what classes them on the standard size Revo, and then there's the Group Twos, which your Alphas, your Escorts, Datsuns, BMWs, whatever.
BMW and E, yeah,
So we got them, and then last year, it will have been last year, the RX-7s
and the
and the Porsches
yeah, 934, yep.
934s. They came out, which was a little bit confusing because they sort of fell straight between the two
Yeah,
sizes. You same motors, but then your gearing was different. The wheel diameter,
there's a
especially,
big difference in
was
the
uh,
smaller
was
group cars.
was different again.
Yeah,
So it was very hard to put them into a class two race as such. We had a bit of fun. We ran them for the first race now a couple of weeks
a couple
ago,
of weeks ago, yeah, they're good fun here on the
uh,
flat track,
and they
and
were good fun. And
yeah,
a couple of guys who didn't have them ran the Group Twos against them, but yeah, you could see that most of the guys that were running the RX-7s and the Porsches had basically took them straight out of the box. Had not actually spent any time tuning them up, and you could clearly see that once they're tuned up, the Group Twos are not going to keep up with them.
mm,
So I think we've got some interesting racing coming forward with those new cars. Um, Definitely be ones to watch. With the We'll get into it. With Revo, as we say, we enjoy racing them. So we've got different events coming up. We've got 21st of this month, so only a couple of weeks away. We've got an event that we do called the Ultimate Racer, of which we basically put six Revo slot cars
hmm
on the track, six cars on the track, six controllers plugged in, and they stay where they are in that lane, and just the drivers move. And it's a great bit of fun, and we've had good turnouts in the past for it. And it is basically the only thing you need to bring is your finger.
yeah,
Everything else is provided, and you just move from lane to lane. So it's a good challenge for people, and it really helps those guys that, especially those that are not that good at setting cars up, because straight away they're on the same level field as everybody else. They're just in there just to drive those cars. We set the cars up pretty good, so we do spend a bit of time to get those cars set up. We'll be using true speed controllers with them, so then we'll be again on the track ready for everybody. So everyone's using the same controller, same cars, and it's a bit of fun. So anyone's welcome to come down to that. So that's Saturday, the 21st of this month. So anyone interested, it's on the website under events. So you get more information there if you want to come down to that. And then obviously later in the year, this is our third or fourth. This is our fourth
I
Revo
thought they were fourth
Championship.
indeed. I think it
Yeah,
is.
I
Yeah,
think it'll be
yep,
our fourth
yep.
year for running the Revo Slot Championships, and we've had quite a few entries in that already. The guys, booked the tickets nice and early. A lot of the guys, some familiar guys coming down to do the same challenge again. Last year was pretty good because we got a few interstate guys taking away trophies, which is nice to see because having it at the same track, those guys have got to know the track. And I definitely sort of dialed into it now, setting the cars up really well. You can see as soon as they come down, the practice days, the day before, you look
Well,
at the
they're
cars,
on.
go, they're onto it. So I'm looking forward to that one again. That's in July. Um, while I'm on that, put a few thoughts out there. Friday we've got down there for the Group Two.
Yeah,
Um,
this is the Reverse
Revo
Championship.
Slot Championship on
Yep.
the Friday. We've got the Group Twos in. And then obviously Saturday we've got the GTs, and then on the Sunday it's more the sort of
Well,
GT1, yeah, your Toyota GT1s, your Ferrari
class one. Yep,
FF3s, the
yep,
Class 1s.
yep.
So they're on the Sunday. With the new RX-7s and the Porsche, um, there's no class that they're in at the moment. So we do have an option, and I've spoken to the guys at Revo, and they're happy for us to make a change. But I'm not going to do it, and I just want to float this through you guys and see what you think. And that is on the Friday, we normally run the race format where we've got the main race, we've got the semis, and then we've got the finals. We have got an option if we wanted to do the Group Two on the Friday, just the main race, or we could do main race and just a final.
Yep.
So no semis, and then we could split the Friday up and actually have a main race and a final for that
For the Group Two
RX-7
and the mids is the
and the mid-range, whatever you want to call it. I don't know
yeah.
what actual class they come in as such, but so we could actually do two different races. The Group Two's in the morning, and then another race again in the afternoon, which would be the RX-7s and the Porsches. I don't know. You guys let me
Yep.
know what you think about that. Or would you prefer to keep it just the Group Twos? We've got time to sort of talk about it now because we've got time to get the cars set up because people are obviously want to set those cars up. That's what we're going to do. Now, most importantly, the guys that have already entered and bought tickets for the event, them especially I would like to hear from because
That's right.
they've already committed to a race format and if they don't want changes themselves and are not wanting any changes, then I think that's fair. We do not change it because they've bought tickets for that format that's already
Yep.
been advertised and discussed.
Yep.
But I just wanted to float it out there and see what people think. So please get back to me. Phone us up, drop us an email, whatever you want to do. Just let me know. So that's for the one in the main race in July. But what I wanted to have a look
What's
at
it?
tonight,
Got
so
any questions or
I'll just have a look if
comment?
any
Yeah, let's just
questions
check in
there.
and see.
Nick V, not got one yet. Okay. They're good fun, Nick. They really are. Sorry, I'm
Yep.
just reading some of the comments that are coming through. So yeah, no, they are good fun. These new Revos.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something about them. When we saw all them RX-7s going around the track the other day, it
Have a look.
looked
Yeah, some
awesome.
great liveries in there from the Moffat one to some of
I
the
should have
others.
live streamed it, and I will do next time we run them so people can see them. But they're were really nice to see. So, but food for thought. Let us know what you think anyway. So what we want to do today is basically have a look at some Rebos and have a look at some of the things that we do to set them up. It's not in-depth sort of set and tune of the Rebos tonight, but it's some basic stuff you need to be checking when you buy a car. They are very good off the shelf. But as with every single slot car, there's always something you can do to make it better.
Sure. Yeah.
And you got to remember, these are mass produced. They're not going to sit there and precisely set them the way we might to get that extra couple of tenths of a second or whatever we want
Mhm.
to get out of them. So I'm going to pass you over to Anthony, and he'll go through a few tips of his.
Yep, I'm just
As
going to
we
have a
know,
look at
he's
the
a pretty
rear
good
axle
racer, so
in.
we'll head over and let Anthony go through a few things, and then we'll pass back and forward as we go.
Oh no, so we're just going to swap
Yeah, right.
cameras there, so a slightly little different view, and you can see Mike's got his tyre true in the background. Got a chassis there, just obviously stripped down to the two plates and the axle
So
mounts.
so that's this car here.
Yep, and one of the F40 Ferraris, which are a popular choice. And again, it's always some good liveries and whatnot in those guys. So obviously one of a couple of the main things you want to look at here is have a look at these plates, make sure they're nice and straight. I haven't pulled these apart, but you can pull them apart all the way down. Put them on a flat block, just make sure they're nice and flat. If they've got a bit of rock in them, aluminium, you can give it a bit of a get them flat. So other than that, the thing you really want to look for is just getting these pillar blocks nice and square and aligned with each other so that the axles are free to move through the bearings and obviously roll nice and easily. You can get yourself a little dowel. That's just a little bit of 6mm aluminium round bar. It'll obviously pass through the two pillar blocks. And just doing that alone is going to get them pretty close to being all nicely lined up.
So if they're out of line, what would you find?
Well, you'd find when you'd get that going for the first one, and if it was badly out of line, you might end up coming in at an angle to the
Yep,
second one, and you'd have to tweak it sideways to do it. And that means your axle, when it passes through the bearings, it's not sitting
square. So it's going to
square.
tighten
Yeah,
that
yeah.
inner
Going to put a
race
bit of light
on
sideways
there.
in the
So
bearing.
yeah.
Yeah, yep. So just so block like that, and pretty much,
So loosening.
yeah, I think I've got them just backed off a little bit at the moment, just so that the other blocks will move into the position where they need to be.
Yep.
And then once you've got them where they need to be, just get your favourite screwdriver. Just with these, I find if you find the right screwdriver that gives really good engagement in the screws, it helps tighten them up and get the torque right. That little one's not too bad. I obviously found this one. It must have the right shape on the tip. You can get in there, and you can
There
actually.
is a fair bit of difference between them, even though they're all saying they're the same
Mm,
actual physical tip. There is a difference between them anyway, isn't
yeah,
there?
that's right. So
And last thing you want to do is be
yeah,
rounding those screws off.
yeah. So if you find the right tip, is always good. Gives good engagement. You get a nice bit of torque on those, so they won't come loose. Hopefully, I've got that in shot. There we go. And let's lock those down, and those pillar blocks. They're pretty good. You can see that's
That's
floating
nice, yeah.
nicely there.
So you do that front as well?
Yeah, do that on the front as well. I haven't sort of pre-prepared the front, but yeah, I haven't even undone the front. Got to say that's gone in pretty well, but you can see it's just starting to bite a little bit as you
Yeah.
try and go through. So loosen those guys off, through, tighten them up again. You're going to get those a lot better and a long way to improving your lap times. Obviously, once you've got those in, it's just a matter of then getting the rear axles in it. We've got a couple of bearings there. Don't forget, don't lose your spacers. There's normally always one spacer on the inside of the gear there, and there's a bigger one on the wheel on the other side. Let's get ourselves set there. Bearings are in. Bearings in.
Right, so what about bearings? You oil, wash them, and do anything with your bearings?
Look, you can give them a spin, and you'll soon find out whether they do have any sort of debris and things like that in them. So yeah, you can give them a little bit of a washout if needs be. They're spinning reasonably well, so this tire's a bit out of true, which won't be helping us cause, but and it
Yeah.
gives you a chance now to just give it a spin, have a look, have a look at your tires and your rims, see how they're spinning, have a look at the gear, and see how that's going. Some of these plastic gears sometimes out of the box can
Yeah,
be. If
so
you don't
you
like it,
do have options
reject it,
there.
and
So that is another option of gears. I don't know whether you guys have seen this. So this is your standard one it comes with, and then there's the Ergo one, which a lot of guys tend to move and change to that, which we allow in our Revo Championships and stuff. We don't allow any other brand of gear, but the Ergo one is pretty good, and they have made some improvements to this gear in the last 12 months or so. But
yeah,
the
yep,
Revo did produce a different gears, and it is a little bit truer than what they used to be.
yep.
But the Ergo gear is definitely
The reviews tend to be a big,
quite a good choice people are taking.
yeah, yeah. I've got to say that the standard gear, if you get a good one, they do work extremely well. There's no doubt about that. So the ergos probably tend to, or have tended to be a little bit more consistent out of the packet or out of the box.
Yep.
But as you said, very hard worked on the standard gear and improve those. But just have a look, give it a spin, see what it looks like. If it's not right, either change it out or um, well, I think I've seen some text week hitting with a ciggy lighter and trying to eat them up, but it might not apply to these type of gears.
I have seen it done, and I've seen a few teeth melted off as well when they've got it wrong. So that's warming the gear and running it to sort of bed them in. Yeah, it's something to be done quite
Yeah,
carefully.
yeah. And that it's just a very quick setup. That's
That's
spinning
spinning fairly good, yeah.
reasonably well. So you obviously want a little bit of play side to side. You don't want the spaces sort of pushing hard up on the gears. For mine anyway, a little bit of float side to side there is generally
Yeah, and I
works.
think that's a thing when you get your cars off the shelf, they do tend to be quite pressed quite tightly together on those.
Yeah, I'd imagine I just give them a squeeze
Just
and
squeeze them up, tighten them up,
yep.
and that as well. So yeah, that little bit of play there does make a big difference to the overall performance of the car. And that's a little bit, you see that down the straight, you can see when it's running nice and smooth, you got that extra bit of speed.
Hmm.
Um, with the pillboxes, height wise, you can adjust now. They've got these little things here, which I don't know any all of you have seen them, for going under the axle blocks.
So yeah, for these shim packs, they are sized for the front and rear pillar blocks, and you get a variety of thickness of these. 0.15 mil, there's 0.25 millimeter there, and a half mil block. They're just an open U shape, as you can see there. And look, similar technique going back to this almost, if you like. Um, loosen the screws off. I'll use the other screwdriver because I've talked them now, and that red handle one's not quite as good at getting on these. Um, just loosen them off, lift it up. Normally with a pair of tweezers, got a little courtesy hole there. Sometimes you can grab that with the tweezers, slide them in and under, and then align your blocks once you've got one on each
Yeah, so
side.
you've got to realign
Yeah,
again now because you've moved everything.
yep.
Um,
And that'll lift the pillar blocks up, drops the chassis. So that sort of gives you a bit of control over the ride height.
yeah,
And you can do that for the front
bear
and
in
rear.
mind, check your clearance on your wheel arches, bits and pieces like that, because it
Oh,
can
it does do
make
that.
a
It does
difference.
push the wheels up into the wheel arches. There's no doubt about that. So you've got to keep an eye on that side of thing as well. Um,
Yeah, so again, if we go back to championships, a light skim on the wheel arches, for clearance is allowed. Grinding the shit out of them is basically not allowed. So you come here with a car with the body and half the wheel arches are missing. It's not going to run. A light skim is a light skim. I
mhm.
think that's what we sort of allow. All right, so that then changes the ride height. Um, what about your mesh for your motor, Anthony? What's your sort of thoughts on?
Well, obviously, you don't want the gears running so that the teeth are bottoming out against each other, and you don't want them backed out too far either. So, I haven't got the motor in there at the moment on this one, but we do have it just there. Well, maybe we can pop
So
those in and we're going to
so
show. But
a,
you just
a
want a
few
little bit of
years ago they
movement.
used to. Do you remember the
Oh, right. Yeah, you want a little bit of movement on the gears, I guess.
you remember the guys that used to always say get your cigarette papers folded in half and put it between the teeth of the gears,
Hmm.
and that'll give you the right mesh. Have
Yeah,
you heard that one?
yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's not far off.
Hmm.
That little bit of paper, thin paper between them,
Yep.
helps you control. Main thing I've found with that is, especially the off-the-shelf gears, is don't just check your mesh at one point and assume it's
Mm.
right. Do the whole revolution of your gear, checking your mesh all the way around,
Yep.
because if the gear is slightly out, you're going to get tight points and loose points.
Yep.
And if you get a real tight point on it, then it's going to be a problem when you're running that car.
Hmm.
So if your gear is slightly out and, whether or not not all 100% perfect, but find I always sort of find the happy medium point in there.
Yep.
You can change gear and try another gear if you like, but I normally try and just find that happy medium point where there's still that tiny bit of play even at its tightest point. I don't know whether you do
Yeah,
something
yeah,
similar.
certainly. Yeah, you obviously don't want them to a point where they're binding or running hard against each other, and you don't want them too loose so that they're going to slip and not engage. So,
Yeah. So that but also on these, even though you've got your motor coming in, and we're talking about the mesh here as it goes into there. I'll put it that way. What I also find, even though you're moving in and out to get your mesh, with these you can change this angle just. There is a little bit of
there
play
can be
in
a little bit
there
of play there to, yep.
to get that angle, and that's where when you get that angle just nice and then the mesh nice, you've got a fairly quiet car.
Hmm.
When that's wrong, it's noisy, and when you hear several cars on the track, and you hear some that are screaming pretty loud, then you'll hear another one go past that sounds so quiet. And when they've got that mesh perfect, they are a lot quieter. They do make a bit of noise when being the metal
Yeah,
chassis,
they
so
do.
you get
Yeah,
that vibration
yeah.
through more than you would with a plastic chassis. But as well as you getting your mesh, just a little bit of play on that angle, and you can probably see, that's where I'm doing, just changing that a little bit there.
Hmm.
Um, helps just get that smoothness in there as well. Um, so um, so that's basically setting up your axles, setting your motor mesh. Um, Guides, you've got the option of the deeper guide that comes in the box.
Yeah, there is
So
indeed. I think I've popped them aside.
with
There's the
the
around
timber
here.
tracks, we tend to always put the deeper guide in. Um, there is a spring in there.
Yep.
Some of the guys remove the spring. Some guys leave it in. Some, what I mean, and I've seen such a difference in the setup of cars. So that's the two guides.
And try and hold these in a way that demonstrates the difference in the height of the blade. Yep, probably. Let's get a white background there so it makes it a bit easier to see. But yeah,
Yeah, so that shorter blade, if you're running on a scale electric track, for example, you'd use that slimmer blade on there.
hmm,
Um, and remember, these cars can go on a scale electric track as long as it's not digital. They will go straight on there as well. Carrera will probably get away with the deeper one because the Carrera track does allow slightly deeper.
hmm.
Yeah, so you'd probably get away with the deeper one on a Carrera track anyway. But for timber tracks, definitely go to the deeper one. And then, yeah, springs.
I'll normally
Do you?
leave them in. I think they sort of give a nice bit of positive pressure down
Yep.
on the brake. So
Yeah, so
um,
see a big difference in them. Some of the guys have got like 3 mil bouncing up and down on there.
mhm.
Other guys have got it down quite small. Other guys take the springs out completely so they can get it as low at the front as they possibly can. And that's just personal setup of how you like to run your car and what you find with it. There's no right or wrong with them. Main thing with that is I find it again, check that out, not jamming anywhere, and
Well,
it does
that's right.
bounce up and down
Yeah,
smoothly.
yeah. So obviously when it's in and yeah, just get it in the right way. Just make sure you got a full range of movement side to side. It should be nice and free. If it's binding at all, solve the problem. You don't want that. You won't help it self-center. Um, which if you've had an off, you want the marshals just be able to put the car straight on, and yeah, self-centering blades are important there.
Yeah, so John's just confirmed the deep guide works well on the Carrera tracks. Um, so yeah, I thought it probably would because the Carrera is quite deep. And one of the guys saying that he used a small triangular file on the gears. So I guess taking any small burrs and stuff
Yeah,
off the gears, it's carefully I would probably
yeah,
suggest.
you might
But
sort of,
yeah, definitely won't do any harm.
mhm.
I've seen a few different ideas on that for the gears. Some guys put a cutting compound on the gears and then run them with a cutting compound on them for a while and then clean them off.
Like making a mess.
But yeah, whether again, there's just techniques and things I've seen over the years.
Yep. I don't know whether I can demonstrate that, Mike, but
The mesh,
the mesh,
bit hard to see on this
well,
camera.
yeah, I'm not sure it's the best close up. Yeah, like there's obviously a lot of rock there back and forth, and those teeth are probably in danger of disengaging. And if we go tight the other way, if I really push it in, they'll be, they can feel it binding as it
Binding
goes
there,
around.
yeah.
So, that's not going to help with performance at all. It's an immediate engagement between the two gears.
So basically, if you're holding your pinion tight, you want to just be able to move that back wheel back and forward a little
Oh,
bit
yeah.
in the teeth, just so you can feel.
Just even, that's on the cusp of being pretty good. I'm not sure this camera is doing real well in the close up, but
Yeah, so you
yeah, it's
your
probably a
rear
little bit
gear is
more than
fully
what it could
turned.
be. But yeah, just move it back and forth.
Got a bit of play in there,
Yeah,
yeah.
spend a little bit of time on it, and you'll get the results out of it. I'm not sure that was terribly square. I've only got the one screw in that.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway,
That's
hopefully
just an
everybody got the
example of
idea.
what
Yep,
things to look at.
yep.
Yeah. So that's the float on the body where we've got the two chassis and we've got the movement between
Revo
the two.
allow for customization there. They've got the brass
So
nuts that have got the different height profiles. You can tighten. That's standard.
you can see that rocking up and down there.
Yep.
So that is pretty standard. Now we have had customers in the past come back and say there's something wrong with the car because it's got this movement end. But BRM and Revo, this is supposed to be there. This is what they class as the way they float their chassis there. So it's and that is these four nuts here and the screws. So they're locked up tight with that amount of play in it. And as Anthony was just saying, we've got options there of different sizes.
This
So,
is the height of the shoulder that goes through the top plate.
yes, I don't know whether you can see these. I'll show you on the larger ones. That's probably easier to see. Um, if you can see the length
Yeah, it's
of
quite
that shoulder on there. So this is the largest one that we do. So this is 3 millimeters. So now, so they do a 3 millimeter, 2.5, 2 millimeters. Then there is basically the 1.5 is the standard it comes with. So the 208 with no letter is the standard it comes with, and that is 1.5. And then you can lower it and take some out of it by going to the A, which is 1 millimeter. So the one that doesn't actually say a measurement on it is 1.5 millimeters. So and that's the standard that it comes with. So you can change that. You can change that float accordingly. Again, to try different things to see what suits you and your
yeah.
driving and the car.
It's just experimenting and track time and try one thing, try another,
Basically,
go back.
yeah, and you do have to do the trials because what works for one person doesn't work for the other. We all have different driving techniques, um, and I think that your car setup reflects your driving technique as well. So what might be the perfect setup for one person isn't necessarily the perfect setup for the next person. So try different things by all means. There's no right or wrong. So that's sort of going through the chassis pretty much. What else we got then? We were talking before about raising the pillar blocks, which affects the body and
Well, it lowers the chassis, and so it takes the center of gravity down a little bit, which can help with stability.
yep,
But yeah, you need to
it
watch the
it
wheel arches getting
wheel
pushed up
arches,
into the
which
guards. So
takes us
it takes us to the
to these really.
yeah.
So these are the rubber mounts that go. Have you got them on there?
Yeah, we do have that, and they normally come standard with the black.
So on these, most of them, yeah. The Group Twos, I think, have a different color
Mm,
in them, but the normals are black. So that is 1 millimeter. That's actually the thickness. There's like a wall at the end from the inside to the outside. There is the thickness of that rubber. There is 1 millimeter. So again, you've got a difference. So 1.5 will give you a little bit more clearance between the top of your
lift the body up. So
wheels and your wheel arches, so lift that body up, as Anthony's saying. So you've got 1 mil, 1.5. Lower it down, you've got 0.5 mil there as well. And then your largest ones, which are the 2 millimeter. I don't blur camera.
yeah, I'm not sure it's
Doesn't like being this close up, I don't think. So you've got options there again to move the body. So that pretty much goes through that side of the car. And I guess the next thing really then is getting into starting to true your tires up, which is one of the main things again to get that stability down the track and get rid of some vibration. So rubber tires again, can't really, they're never going to be perfect. You know,
no.
you're molding a rubber tire, it is not going to be perfect.
Hmm.
So I think truing the tires is quite important. So I want to just quickly run through just a few sort of checks to do when you are truing tires. So I'm just going to go
All
back to
right.
this other camera a second.
Yep.
Okay, so this is an overdrive tire truer. There's plenty of different tire truers on the market. They're all, there's pretty good ones out there. This is just the one I personally use. Now, I like to true both wheels at the same time to ensure I've got my diameters right. Now, tire truers that do one at a time, they have a stop on them and you can true your tires down. You put down to the stop, then you do your next wheel down to the stop. Keep in mind when you're doing them, rubber does squeeze in. So you might be down at the stop and it's cutting away. But if you sort of stop that and say, right, okay, I've got it down to that stop and I'll take that one off, and then you put your next one on down to stop and you leave that on the truer for an extra 5 minutes,
Mhm.
it will be a different diameter, even though you're on the stop, because that expansion of the tire as it spins and the softness of the tire, timing is important. When you're down to that stop, you cut it off at the same time each time. Otherwise, it will give you a variance. So I like to do them both at the same time. Now, a lot of people, when they're setting these up, they just bring it down. I've left the wheel tires off this purposely. They bring that down, they start truing the tires, and that's them done. What I want to show you is how inaccurate these can be. So if I've just brought that down now, so this wheel is just touching, and you can probably see that plate moving back and forward when I'm turning that wheel. So the wheel now is touching the sanding part. Okay. Now if we do that on the other one, it's actually not. So they're not going to be the same diameter. Now, that's really important. You've got to get this set first. So I tend to always, before I start trimming my tires, I'll make sure that this is set up correctly. Now, people who've got the overdrive one, you'll probably notice I've changed this screw, put a screw in here instead of the Allen club screw that's normally in there. That's just to make it easy for me. What a lot of people are not aware of with the overdrive, you've got this screw at the top. You also have another one inside here. So that one, if I loosen that one off as well, let me go back to the front here. If you look at this here now, you'll see I've got some movement there where it's actually rocking. I don't know if you can see that on the camera.
It sort of picked up a little bit there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's actually rocking now. So that's the play of this axle that goes through from here. Now, I've got to say, I have modified mine slightly, and I drilled this out just about 1/4 of a millimeter bigger than what was original, so I had more movement. So by locking down front or bottom, I'm moving. I don't know if you can see that
And
that shaft moving.
it's helped you to level it up. Yeah.
So that can level it up. So if I put that back under and bring that down again. So I'm doing the same again, bringing that down. That's touching there. And if I bring that one down as well on the other
Yeah, I think
side,
it's a lot closer than what it was.
so I can loosen that off a bit more at the back. So loosen that one off. And screwdriver and tighten that one down. Now I've got this one binding on this side as well. So that is really important to get that axle level before you even start truing your tires. So whether you have just a set of wheels or whether if you're going to be putting rubber tires on before you glue your tires, put your wheels on there, check them or whatever first. And then once you've got your machine set up right, then you're going to get into the truing of the tires. If you don't do the prep work first, are your tires going to be level? And probably not. The other thing on truing tires, positioning your grub screws with your rims. Now, personally, I always run mine on the cars opposite each other. Just my preference, whether it's right or wrong, I'm not going to say. But I've got a grub screw here, and I'll have my grub screw on the opposite side on the other wheel. If I'm going to true my tyres up, I'm going to put them in that position before I actually true them up. And I'm going to say which one's going to go left and right on there. And then when I transfer that back to the car, I will keep that in that way. If I put it on the opposite way, are they still going to be as trued and balanced against each other as they were originally? Just something I do, not saying whether it's right or wrong, but it's just a tip that I always use. I always make sure those are aligned forward and back with the grub screws to try and balance my weight because that grub screw's got some weight in it. So I do that, make sure they're in that position, then I look at truing the tyres on. Again, I glue my tyres on before truing, make sure that glue's set and gone off, but I don't want the tyres to start expanding or moving on that rim when I'm trying to true them. Again, truing tyres, so a whole nother subject we could go on for days on. But normally my thoughts, slow and steady, don't let too much heat get into your tyre. You will destroy a tyre if you let heat get into it.
Particularly the softer.
You really don't want to get heat into it.
No.
Probably notice I haven't got sandpaper on here. I've got a diamond file that I've glued on. I just find that's, better for me. I'm not forever changing the sandpaper. It lasts a lot longer. It was just a diamond file. I think it was a Mid-America file, and I just basically snapped it, glued it on, and I used that instead of the sandpaper. Give it. On the tires, I sometimes file the edges. That's actually one of the diamond files. Some of the edges, I normally take the corners off a little bit. Just the edges as well when I've done. So that's just a little tip I do. So obviously different grades. I've got rough sandpaper there because I've done foam tires, so that gets me down with that. So that's just my little tip really on truing tires. Remember front ones and rear. Front tires again just gives you that smoothest down the track. If you've got vibration going down the track, it's going to affect the handling as you go around them corners. So get them tires nice and flat, smoother ride, better handling. Front tires, standard tires they come with, and then you can get lowered ones. Again, depends on your setup you want to do with your car. But personally, again, my suggestion, make sure them wheels are actually touching the track. I see some of the guys true the tyres up, they turn that much off, they're no longer in contact with the track. As it goes around, then you can see that front end kick and the back wheel come off the ground. It's that opposite angle effect.
Yep.
So again, just keep an eye on your heights. Well, that's just a little bit of very basic, very quick sort of ideas and stuff for slot cars, and getting them set up on the Revos. Um, just looking there, a couple of
Any
comments
comments?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, what have we got?
So Derek over there in Perth is watching. Hi, Derek. Nick, tires the dark art. Yeah, and it pretty much is. Um, to me, tires are the main thing to get right on a car. Um, and it's for that grip,
Can have the
getting them
biggest
right,
change in performance overall. Sure.
and it's getting the tires set right for the track. And track conditions change. Temperature changes the track conditions. Different surfaces again. Um, you can basically have your tires, and I've actually seen people come here for a race event and they've got the tires so perfectly trued, so smooth, and they've got that much grip, it actually slowing the car down.
Hmm.
So yeah, is there such thing as too much grip? Yes, there is.
Indeed.
It can bog your car down a little bit and slow it. So it is definitely a bit of an art getting them tires right,
Hmm.
and yeah, and definitely different tracks, different surfaces is a huge difference for tire compound and tire setup. So that's pretty much them. Um, so someone just saying they got an RMS 3 10 to 15 years ago, doesn't have the extra screw. Okay. Doesn't have the extra screw. One of the guys there, John's saying it hasn't got the extra screw underneath. Well, these are an RMS 4,
Yeah,
so
might
maybe the 3, I'm not familiar with that one. Whether it's a modification you could do to that, John, and because basically it's just the hole on this side, it's just basically the hole is straight through and then
mm,
threaded so that this axle can move. So whether you could actually modify your 3 to put the hole on this side and, like I say, over enlarge this hole slightly to give you the play. But surprisingly, many people are not aware of this
yeah, it's not
because,
something you always pick up and turn over.
and that's the problem with a lot of these manufacturers. They bring out great machines. There's no instructions with them.
Hmm.
They just stick this lump of metal in front of you and go, there you go.
Yep.
Work it out. And a little bit more instruction with some of these would be nice. But yeah, I just wanted
Yeah, no, it's a
to
great
make
tip,
a
actually.
comment on
Yeah.
that one.
Yep.
You probably see mine's on this plastic stand. This doesn't come standard with them. A gentleman slot car racer actually made this specially for me. It actually, there's a part that clips onto here that goes on, and it actually moves this automatically back and forward.
Okay.
So
Right.
I can walk away and serve customers while that's continually to moving this
Yep.
backwards and forwards.
Well,
You'll
yeah.
be able to see what
Particularly if
I'm
you're
looking
using
at.
sandpaper, you don't want to wear
Yeah,
out the one
just talk.
spot.
Sorry,
So,
I weren't on the camera
yeah,
there.
right. You want to?
So
I'll flick you over.
flip me over for a sec so I
Yeah,
can just
right.
say what I was
There we
talking
go.
about. Yes, we're just talking about this stand that this is on. It doesn't come standard, the red base. A customer of mine made this for me. This little clip clips onto one of these bases here. As this motor spins, it actually moves this back and forward, allowing me to go to the counter and serve customers while that's running. So very nice of him. Great little invention device that works well with it. So I think that pretty much sums up where I wanted to do tonight. So I think just a bit of a rundown, not in depth. There's a lot more, and there's a lot of really good YouTube clips out
Oh,
there
there's a
on
lot of
setup
material on YouTube.
on setting up the Regos and other things as well. We will try and do some more, just more precise and things on the tire truers and truing tires, but I'll do them not on a live feed, just on a separate videos for you to watch back at some point. Um, I think that pretty much covers it up.
Yep. So just yeah, as a
So
recap, I guess. Ultimate Racer, the 21st.
Ultimate Racer. So what
Yep.
have we got? We've
Well,
got
we were going to show these off a little bit. I think it was our
got it. So
We've got a handful of cars each.
Okay.
There's 6 cars. Actually, I think
The bodies are
there was
just
7 or 8
there
cars.
is
One there was a spare, I think, wasn't
there's spares there as
it?
well.
Yeah, yep.
So we've used these before,
There's white bodies with a colour stripe for each of the lanes. So the cars are set per lane.
pretty
Just
much.
Revos.
The standard Revo. So we've got a little bit. I'll obviously run through these and check them all out and get them all running to this very similar as best I can condition. But the cars will go in each lane and not move. Um, True speed controllers is basically the ones we'll be using. It's a True Speed VP2 controller. So that's the controller we'll be using again, set out in every lane. So it's a good, fun race. It's nothing, nothing too serious. It's about having fun.
For sure.
The cars are there, nice and easy. You don't have to do any work, no setups to do.
Hmm.
Just
turn up, drive
turn
the
up,
car.
drive the car.
Yep.
All you need is bring your finger, your
Yep.
trigger finger. And that's pretty much it. So that's the 21st of this month. So it's coming up in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks,
it's not far
3
away.
weeks. But 2 weeks on Saturday.
I think might be. Yep.
So yeah, get down to that. Everybody's welcome for that.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of fun. And then we have got the main Revo slot championships, the Australian championships there on July 20th,
Yeah.
4th, 5th,
Yeah.
6th, whatever. It runs for a
Yep.
few
Have
days.
a look on the website,
Um,
SLotz.com.au.
so it runs for a few days there. So racing will be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday over 3 days. The tracks will be open Wednesday and Thursday for guys to come and practice. And that is especially for the guys that are not local. Get down here, get some time on them tracks, get familiar. That's when you can ask for any other bits of, tips, advice, anything you want to do. But yeah, get down here. There's no charge for the guys that have entered the race to actually use the tracks on the Wednesday and Thursday. That is all part of your entry. That is all the tracks are here to practice on for a couple of days before the event. And if you've not been down, utilize that time. But again, we had a few people last year that had never done a race in their life. And they came and did the Revo Championship and they thoroughly enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And it hooked them into the racing. And you don't have to be the best racer in the world to enter. Come down and just have the experience of it.
Yep.
Learning things from the other guys that are there is just the most valuable thing you can do. But yeah, don't worry about having you're not as good as the others. We do qualifying. We run to that, so you'll be running against people of your own sort of,
In groups. Yeah.
ability there and that as well. So get down, have some fun. Slot car racing is supposed to be fun. Let's keep it that way. And it's for everyone. For the guys that've been doing it for 30 years and the guys that've been doing it for 30 days or even less. Come down, have some fun. Well, everything's on the website, all the information. If you can't find it, drop us an email. I'll send you the links and run through it from there.
Yep.
But that's probably about it for tonight. So it was a bit of a Revo night. I'm not sure what next month has. I haven't even thought that far ahead. But I'll
Slot cars?
be something new with slot cars. But and if there's something in particular you want to see on one of these live feeds, let us know. They're here for you to try and give you some tips and advice on cars. You know, there's a lot of guys out there showing you all the new products and everything that's coming out. They're very good at what they do, and we'll let them continue and do that and show you all the latest and greatest that are coming out because there's so many good quality cars coming out all the time these days. It's just getting better and better. What we want to do is try and show you some little bits of tips and stuff, and it is about being on the track. So I think that's it, Anthony. Anything
All right.
to,
No, I think
anything to
we've
add?
covered it tonight. Hope you guys have got something out of it and
All
learned
right.
something. And
So
yeah.
hopefully when we play this back, we've had volume. We've not been talking to ourselves for the last hour, but
Well, I can see the little bar on the
and
laptop
we've
there
had some
moving
messages
nicely.
coming through. So I think the people have heard us. So All right.
technology, and this is yes.
Yeah,
If we
there's
could
something's a cloud over this building. I'm
if we
sure
could
there
leave it
is.
all set up and didn't have to build it each time we did this, it might help.
Yeah, but we're actually set up on top of a track. So we need this to race on.
Well, of course, yeah, we can't anyway.
Uh, all right.
Well,
Well, thank you again, guys,
okay.
for joining us. Thanks again to Anthony for all your help as
Thanks
usual.
for the invite, mate. Pleasure.
And we'll catch up with you again on the
Oh,
first Wednesday of the next month.
indeed. April. Goodness,
April.
where's the year going?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Thanks again,
Have a
guys.
good night.
Thanks, Anthony.
See you.
Catch you
Thanks.
later.
Bye.